Right, so big news. I got a job at one of those manic companies here in Silicon Valley. Yes, I got a job at McDonald's. No, I'm just kidding. I did get a job at one of those big tech companies, though, here in Silicon Valley, one of those FANG companies. So I've moved here to the Bay Area, and I'm super excited to start the next chapter of my life as a J1 entry level janitor here out of the headquarters. No, just kidding. I did get a job as a software engineer, though, and I posted about my job hunt experience on Twitter, formerly known as X. So check that out if you're interested, as well as how I got the job, how I prepared for the interviews, the lead code grind, system design, all of that. Long story short, though, in the beginning, the job hunt was brutal. In the beginning, I was getting rejected by all these random startups, and at some point, I was like, you know what, screw you guys. I'm going to shoot for the big dogs. So in the end, I had final rounds at this company, OpenAI and XAI. So I wrote about that on Twitter, so you can check that out. But anyways, I did want to give my impressions of the job and company after 1 month, and I know that like it always annoys me when people make these kind of videos or posts or stuff and then it's just like all positive. Like of course you're not going to mention any negative things. You don't want to get laid off. But honestly, I know you're not going to believe me, but honestly, I can honestly say that it's exceeded all of my expectations. I will say that I was never interested in big tech before this because I thought that they were all slow, boring, bureaucratic, cog in the machine, and I didn't want to live in the Bay Area as well. I thought New York City was the best, although they do have offices there. So I still should have maybe applied for that. But anyways, but honestly, I regret not working at a company like this earlier. It's like, first of all, okay, some misconceptions I had. So I've been really surprised that there is no agile or scrum here. There's none of that daily daily stand up, poker planning, sprint planning bullshit. It's just you get your work done. That's it. I mean, that's been awesome. Another surprise, it's very bottoms up here. That's a big surprise. I think that's specific to this company, but it almost feels like the software engineers are almost like product manager hybrids, or at least that's how it feels to me, which I really like. And again, it's not like that at all these companies. There are a lot of other companies that are more top down. I much prefer this bottom up nature, and I think it's part of the reason why there's none of that scrum stuff, because teams can decide for themselves how they want to manage themselves. So I think that's very refreshing. Another thing is this company is doing so much interesting cutting edge stuff. Whatever you're interested in, you can do that here. Whether you're interested in cutting edge AI work all the way down to building your own silicone at the hardware level, you can do that. And not only can you do that, but you're more likely to be able to do that here than at a small startup. For example, let's say I'm a traditional software engineer and I want to get into machine learning. No startup's going to hire me to do machine learning work, but at a big company, you could more likely be able to do that work because you could transition into a team doing that work, or the code base is all open. You can kind of do what you want to do, but it's just like that's awesome. And then what else? I mean, needless to say, the office is just ridiculous. You cannot ask for more from an office. Not only that, but it's hybrid. You don't even have to go. You just go 3 days a week, and that's fine. Like, geez. And then, but the office is like the food is incredible. It's free. It's endless. It's incredible. I'm not just saying that. It's amazing. And you've got a gym. You've got kind of everything you need. It's almost like a little village. And then not only that, but so I love working out of different locations. And to be completely honest with you, I hope my teammates don't see this, but like, I think I don't really love where my desk is because I think that it's very dark in that area. But the office is so big that there's so many different areas I can work in that I love. I can go work on the rooftop. I can work outside. I can work. There are all these little rooms. Like there's so many cool places to work out of. So it just keeps things interesting. And yeah, it's awesome. So I like playing sports, soccer, basketball. Yeah, it's been awesome, honestly. And then and then the pay. It's just it doesn't make sense to work at a startup. I feel like I mean, unless you're just really passionate about what you're doing with your startup. Like let's say you're building your own startup, or it just happens to be doing what you want. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are advantages of startups, but the pay by working at a startup, you are taking a huge pay cut. At a big tech company, you're going to be getting paid at least 2-3x more. That's not even factoring in stock appreciation. You factor in stock appreciation, it's just absurd. I mean, I feel like I really missed out on this golden gravy train here. I mean, I'm better late than never, but wow. I mean, just this year, the stock is like doubled, right? Or something. I don't know. At least up 60% for sure. It's, yeah, it's cool. And then it's awesome just being in meetings with, or like having your desk like a few seats away from people who are probably making a couple $1 million a year easily. I mean, it's very inspiring. But all that being said, I'm still pretty useless on the team. There's so much to learn. I don't know if I said this already, but I have been surprised that the job is extremely data driven, and it's a lot different than I expected. It could be specific to my team, but there's a lot of running experiments, analyzing the data, a lot of that kind of work, which I didn't expect. But honestly, it's been a nice change of pace from kind of previous jobs where I felt like a bit more code monkey like in terms of just like very high expectations to pump out a ton of code. And here it's more it feels, at least so far, it feels like the work is so far more interesting to me, at least at this stage of my life. And it's much more reasonable work-life balance compared to a startup. And they care about your things like your career development and stuff like that, which at a startup, like nobody cares about that. Just like get the work done and try to make this ship survive and not sink. But anyways, I'll leave it at that. But so far it's been great. I wish I worked at a company like this earlier. I mean, the money, status, prestige, learning opportunity, office, it's I can see why people get golden handcuffed at companies like this. And honestly, I don't even know if that's a bad thing, because once you work at a company like this for 4 or 5 years, save $1 million plus, then you're pretty free, right? You can kind of go to the startup if you want. But anyways, I'll just try to balance it out by saying that startups, you do learn a lot, and it's nice to get both perspectives, I think. So I'm grateful for all my previous experiences. But I'm definitely excited for this as well, especially as I personally think that no matter how much you think AI is going to change the world over the next 5-10 years, I think you're probably underestimating it. I think the world's underestimating it. I think the world is going to look completely different in 10 years. And I think part of that is that a lot of human labor is going to get automated away. I know people don't want to believe that, but I think that's going to be the reality. And that's part of the reason why I decided to work at a company like this, because I wanted to be on the winning side of that, or at least not the losing side of that. I feel like now is the opportunity to kind of like get your nut into, like if you're a squirrel, get your nut while you can, because I think that opportunity it's going to get more competitive. Kind of like just look at the music industry, for example, right? I'm not talking about pre-AI too. It is, I don't know, I guess it's arguable. Is it harder to make a living in the music industry? I guess you could argue both ways, right? But I would argue that it probably is harder, at least for the same level of talent. I think it is harder, but I guess it's arguable. You know what? So I'm not going to make any concrete statements here. Maybe there is opportunity, but I will say that the job hunt has objectively gotten a lot more competitive over the last few years in tech. I don't believe the job numbers, or I think they drastically underestimate how bad this situation is. They don't factor in wages, stuff like that. I think it's only going to get more competitive as AI progresses, as agents develop. And so I think now is the time to kind of be serious and take advantage of the opportunities here while they're here, because you can't assume that these same opportunities here now will still be there in 5 years, whether that be working in tech or being an Uber driver, because like self-driving cars, or sure that kind of thing is going to be the norm in 10 years, maybe sooner. So just my take. Do your own thinking. That's it. All right, I'm gonna go enjoy this beautiful Palo Alto weather. All right, I think that's a sign to cut the video. Until next time, peace.